Next, the parasites are still on the move and they are all heading now to the LexCorp building. One of them even breaks the monitor ad screen as it drains the electricity. The leader shouts to get to the Supercorp safe room, as Mercy is now giving orders to shut down all kind of electricity. She added, "Don't feed these creatures to their satisfaction," and surprisingly, her arm transforms into a mechanical weapon that annihilated one of the monsters. But it has no effect. Parasite just multiplies more, then sets its target towards her. Out of nowhere, Superman crashes through the wall and saves the outnumbered woman and also uses his ice breath to freeze the enemies. The woman seems to be confused, that the creature shouldn't possess such characteristics like this. Then Clark asks the woman about Luthor, mentioning they are from his enemies, but the woman says she has no idea. Superman knows that she's lying because of her fast heart rate as he hears Luthor saying, "I warned you before." In the prison, Lex has his own backup plan of figuring out how to put a stop on this parasite, thinking it might change or evolve again. He suggests for Superman to free him in the prison, but the conversation is cut short when Livewire is shouting, asking who she can ask for a phone call. Lex continues that Clark should act fast freeing him or Metropolis will fall instead. Mercy asks if he's talking now to her boss. He responds that Luthor wants to escape out of Strikers but Superman won't do it. Because he has a plan all along on finding the original parasite, it might have the answer he needs to stop the swarm. The woman wonders of how can he know the original parasite. He suggests to get the power back up there. He thinks that Rudy won't be able to resist that idea. The only problem is, they need a pretty big power source outside the city because nothing is left here. Then he talks to his son and cousin Kara, to give him an update of where they are. John says they managed to put a big wall of ice around the city to contain the parasite creatures, as well as evacuate the people around the area. The other called the Supers from different multiverse are also there to help as many as they can, but they wanted to help fight the creature but the hero won't allow them. Then John informs him that he can't find Lois, and this really angers Superman. As soon as he hears it, he flies straight to the Daily Planet. Inside, he calls for his wife right away, but a surprise attack hits him out of nowhere. A mysterious woman as bright as a moon appears before him, telling him that this is not the best place for you right now. The hero is not familiar with her yet, and the woman explains since he's gone for so long, Metropolis created its own hero when it needs to. She then shoots Superman with her weapon, but he can avoid it quite easily. He quickly apprehended the hostile stranger, but he really wants to know what is her purpose to this place. A horse that seems to be like a ghost is nearby. She mounted it and warns Superman that the legend of Marilyn Moonlight rides again, leaving the hero wondering. She flashes a powerful blinding light that created an image before him that looks like somewhere in the past. Then he realized that her light recharged his previous strength and she is nowhere now to be found. He noticed a picture of a couple, then Lex is talking to him yet again of freeing him in the prison. He complains that the hero could have get him out of there in just 2 minutes, since he's running out of option defeating the enemy, so he needs to think out of the box and follow his lead. But the smart Man of Steel will never take an advice from a narcissistic villain like him as he hears someone is calling him nearby. It is an image of Lois in the dark, and the hero is worried sick of her and says they need to get out now. But it's Parasite all along as it lunges itself towards him. He quickly realized that it is in fact his wife, now fully changed, and so is Jimmy and the other colleagues of his who works at the Daily Planet. Superman uses his ice breath to safely secure them from hurting the innocents. Then he uses his X-ray vision and sees that there are a microscopic version of Parasite inside their bloodstream taking over. John reaches to his dad and is worried that the enemy keeps multiplying, that they can't hold them much longer. Superman says Lex is right from the very beginning, and this villain is now evolving exponentially. Much to his surprise, they're also in the air, changing his entire appearance. From the ground, the parasites keep saying that they're hungry, and the super parasite makes a ladder out of themselves to climb the high wall. Lex on the other hand is non-stop criticizing what's happening in the city, calling it now the lost city of parasites, just blaming Superman and his big ego. Then the wall has been smashed just beside him, expecting the Man of Steel comes to his senses. Surprisingly, it's Superman alright, but it's the parasitic version of him now fully transformed by the creature. This shocked him the most, seeing the old friend can be taken over just like that. Another surprise is, it talked to him, realizing it still has its consciousness intact. Then he made a wild guess of the parasites turning into microscopic versions, which is correct. Lex is relieved knowing that the hero finally needed him. Then Superman breaks the prison cell of Livewire, thinking the parasite is just wearing a costume. The woman is scared, she whimpers that she's gonna be sucked dry by the monster, as she screams for Luthor to help her. Next, she's actually been taken to the Supercorp, explaining her role there. Mercy added that Livewire will be sort of a bait to the real parasite, so they will know what really happened and undo all of this. At this rate, even the so-called supers won't be enough to stop it. Then Lex promises her that the machine won't hurt at all. The deformed Superman now switches on the machine, and the big S outside the building shines bright like never before. Livewire, having this kind of superpower, is still worried that the creature will come after her because of this. And they are right. It really catches the attention of these hungry minions as Lex suddenly realized something. It turns out, she's not only attracting the parasites in the streets, even now the microscopic versions rush out hurriedly to the burst of energy as well. It's because they recognize the superior source of nourishment coming out of it. While wearing now a protective gear against the airborne parasites, Superman is disappointed from Lex not keeping his promise to her. But their real mission has not been accomplished yet, and right on time they see now Rudy nearby. The original one looks like the weakest version of them all, complaining these other parasites are feeding all the nourishment away from him. Superman approaches him and tries to explain to him that they can help each other, and so the villain himself agreed for a quick chat. But the overwhelming hunger inside of him only pushes him to attack the hero and tries to feed into his energy. Superman fights back and the determined monster still persists, targeting the best taste in the world. One minion lunges itself, but it got kicked by Rudy, saying he doesn't like to share. The hero tries to explain to him again the source of these energy, and he just needed to absorb them all back to him. Lex and his assistant Mercy are doing their share of action protecting Livewire. While Superman continued that the Bits versions of him have all the power of Metropolis, so it's all the food he'll ever need. This delighted the supervillain and gives him the initiative to do just that, now heading towards the minions. He collected and absorbs all the creatures in his way, and before these cretins get a hold of Livewire in the chair, ironically the supervillain like her saves her from being eaten. This delighted Rudy, filling his tummy with all these energy he desire. When Mercy sees it up close, she thinks it's very unpleasant to watch, but Lex is just relieved that the problem is being solved. Superman is also there monitoring the progress, and Livewire is just shocked of what's happening to the villain's appearance. She's scared it's gonna blow up to her face, but it seems Lex got it under control by using the neutralizer that will remove the radiation. After all the chaos, the original parasite has achieved euphoria and is happily sleeping peacefully in front of them. Morning comes and the city is quiet again without those rampaging little demons. All of the possessed people return back to normal, and the other supers are helping the authorities to assist the civilians. Same thing happens as well in the Daily Planet, and Jimmy wonders why is he suddenly hungry. Lois on the other hand hears a voice behind her, and it's her husband, pretending he missed all the commotion because he got locked up in the bathroom. The boy hears that excuse yet again and says to call him if it happens to Clark. Next, the generous boy offers that he will buy everyone a breakfast burrito, and everyone happily celebrates. After a while, the two have a conversation about Clark thinking of working with Lex at the Supercorp. But the wife is still suspicious because it's Lex they're talking about and he's always got a plan. But the hero seems to be all trusting. He says he will test it out first before making the right decision. The understanding wife lets him know that she will always be there no matter what, and he doesn't have to face this kind of problem all alone. Then she spontaneously wanted to dance with him as Jimmy teases them along with the others. The two lovebirds even float in mid-air with the sound of music. Subscribe to watch more videos like this. See you on the next one.